בשם השם נעשה ונצליח. בעזרת השם, this just started Rosh Chodesh Av this past week. בעזרת השם, this shiur should be for the הצלחה of כל חיילי ישראל, of מדינת ישראל, שהצלחה for all the Jews in the world. Kadosh Baruch Hu should protect them, all of our dear soldiers, and everyone that unfortunately is in harm's way. Kadosh Baruch Hu should protect them. Imach Shem, all those who want to stand against us, as we say, שבכל דור ודור עומדים עלינו לכלותנו, והקדוש ברוך הוא מצילנו מידם. הקדוש ברוך הוא should save us from all those who try to harm us, all those who try to do whatever they want to do to us. As we say, חרבם בליבן תבונה. That their sword should go in their heart. Meaning those who want to hurt us, it should hurt them back. Everything that they do. And Be'ezrat Hashem, this shiur should be for the Ilui Nishmat of my dear grandfather, whose Yortzeit is tomorrow, Rabbi Eliyahu Leon ben Shafia Halevi. This week's Parasha, Parashat Devarim, is a new Parasha. We're starting the Sefer Devarim, the book of Devarim, as the rabbis, the sages called it, Mishneh Torah, repetition of the Torah. The whole book goes ahead and is more like Moshe Rabbeinu before he passes away. Moshe Rabbeinu is rebuking Am Yisrael, getting them ready before they're going into Eretz Yisrael, and he cannot go, as we're going to learn about in the Parashot in the next week, that Moshe did not get to go into Eretz Yisrael. Before that, he's making sure, like a true leader, he's making sure to leave a testament, to leave like a will, like a tzava'ah, to the people, to the nation, commanding them on the Torah, being mechazek them, being strengthening them to go ahead and learn the Torah, keep the Torah, uphold the Torah and the tradition and everything that we learned in the last 4 books, from Bereshit till Bamidbar. And Devarim starts off with a rebuke from Moshe Rabbeinu. Tochacha. Tochacha is a rebuke. What is a rebuke? Rebuke is, simply said on a surface level, rebuke is when, we want to make sure that the nation, right, just like you have a herd of, let's say, of tzon, of sheep, and you want to make sure that all the sheep gather together. So you make sure that you take the sheep from this side and you take the sheep from this side, and everyone is huddled in a circle, in that point. Moshe Rabbeinu makes sure that all of Am Yisrael are rotating around one point, and that is the point of the Torah, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. There's a famous question, why HaKadosh Baruch Hu did 12 Shevatim? Why is there 12 tribes? I mean, each tribe has his own flag, right? Each tribe has his own personality, right? Even now that we don't have tribes, we have Ashkenazim, Temanim, Parsim, Sfaradim. There's always Hasidim, then there's always a fight. Everyone fights with the other. Unfortunately, there's a bit of we're better than them. Now sometimes it's cute, it's nice, they're laughing around, but sometimes it's really serious, it's really bad. And you think that a Kadosh Baruch Hu, who gave us the Torah, and the Torah is Darchei Noam V'chol Netivotei Shalom, the smartest thing would do was to abolish the tribes, to say no more tribes, one nation. Am Yisrael Chai, Am Yisrael Echad. Just one nation. Why is it that the nation is split up into 12 tribes? It's a good question, no? But the answer is because we can never be one. Although we are one, and in the same point, everything in the world, I remember we discussed this a bunch of times when we were in the beginning, when we were talking about the Parashot of Yaakov and everything, about that everything in the world is really one. When you look at everything in a spiritual way, that was the secret of what Yaakov was saying. Yesh li kol. Comes Esav and he says, Yesh li Rav achi. I have Rav. What is Rav? It's not a rabbi. It means Rav, I have a lot. Meaning, I have a lot of pieces. That's a physical person. Physical person, the difference between physical and spiritual is that physical view of the world you see the chair, the flowers, the Gemara is all three different things. But someone who is spiritual, and of course, granted, it's really hard to get to this level, but a spiritual person sees that there is no difference between this hand sanitizer and the Gemara. Chas v'chalil, l'havdil elef havdalot. One is the Torah and the other one is not, is just a hand sanitizer. But someone who is spiritual realizes that everything is spiritual. Even in the hand sanitizer, there's a certain type of nitzot of kedusha, which connects it to this tissue box, which connects it to the keys, to the table, to the chair. That's what Yaakov was saying. Yesh li kol, everything. There's no pieces. Kol means complete. What do we say? Yaakov ish tam. Tam, mazit tam? Tam means complete. What does that mean that he's a complete person? In what way? That his view of the world and society is a view that is complete. He sees the spiritual in everything. Rasha, Tzaddik, every single one is Hashem. Everything in the creation, hurricane, volcano, earthquake, is a Kadosh Baruch Hu. That's Ish Tam. Esav, Ish Sadeh. Sadeh is a fieldman. What does that mean, fieldman? That's the secret of Rav. Yesh li Rav. Now, we have Mikol, Bakol, Kol. Each one of our forefathers, the ones who created the nation, were all had the secret of Kol. And this is to teach us that the Kol, that the right view of a Jewish person, and this is a view that will help us in life, it's to see everything as spiritual. Everything connects to each other. No matter how bad it seems, it's all spiritual. It's all Hashem. That's the secret of Shema Yisrael. Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. I said this so many times, but what does that mean? Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. Hashem is Yud Kei Vav Kei, is the name of Rachamim, of mercy. Elokeinu is the name of Din, of judgment. Hashem is the name of Rachamim again. Echad. It's all one. Whether you see Parnasa, and then you see the stock market crashing, and the house market crashing, and people get layoffs, and bad things are happening in the state because the economics are going bad, it's all going to be Hashem Echad. Even the Elokeinu, which is Midat Adin, which is judgment, is all part of Hashem, is within the layer of mercy. Mercy from this side, mercy from this side. Din is in the middle. That's the secret over here. That's the secret of Bakol. Mikol, Kol. So this is what Moshe Rabbeinu. So how do we get to this? This was just, I think we were getting to, because we were talking about the rebuke. Now Moshe Rabbeinu is trying to put Am Yisrael in that concept of to put them in a point, in a center. I think how we got to it was because we were talking about the Shevatim. So let's go back to the Shevatim. So how come there's 12 different tribes? How come 12 different tribes should be one nation? Because the secret of this world is that really physically, we're never going to be the same. I'm like this, you're like this, you're like that. Everyone is different. The secret is to see past the differences and to see the nitzot kedusha, to see a Kadosh Baruch Hu in whoever and whatever. No matter the faction, no matter the flag, you see Hashem. That's why when they camped in the desert, how did they camp? 3 tribes here, 3 tribes here, 3 tribes here, 3 tribes here. Who's in the middle? Mishkan. That's the secret. As long as the Mishkan is in the center, then Am Yisrael is one. Ke'ish echad belev echad. But if there's no Mishkan in the center, there's going to be fights. And that's what we see in the book of Nevi'im and prophets, in the book of, in the Jewish history. We see that when the tribes started worshipping Avodah Zarah, when they left HaKadosh Baruch Hu, suddenly there was, okay, there's my tribe. I come from Binyamin. We're very good at this. I come from Shimon. We're very good at this. I come from Levi. And there's fights. There's fights. All throughout the Jewish history, you see that the tribes fought. That's most probably today why HaKadosh Baruch Hu made sure for us, for our own sake, to not have tribes. Because we wouldn't be able to handle it. Each one of us would have the ga'ava and say, no, it's my tribe is better than the other. And we're not going to be in peace ever. I mean, look now. Even when there's two different sides, left, right. We made the left, far left, close left. like there's so many left, and then there's so many right wing. And even then we can't even be b'shalom. Even when there's only two sides. And even when we have Sfaradim, Ashkenazim, and which doesn't even mean anything, because everyone knows that everyone started at some point, and still, there's still a little bit of discrimination against the Sfaradim, against the Ashkenazim, as the Hasidim. We call each other names sometimes, Rahman al-Itzlan. That's why we don't have tribes. Work with what we have first, then we get the tribes back. And then we get the tribes back. That's what the rebuke of this week's parasha. Ele Devarim, asher diber Moshe al kol Yisrael be'ever hayarden. Now he spoke to this to all of Am Yisrael be'ever hayarden, in the other side of the Jordan, right? So Yarden is over here. Yarden, they're about to go into Eretz Yisrael. They're right now east of the bank. Going west of the bank means they're crossing the Yarden into Eretz Yisrael. So right now they're camping outside of Eretz Yisrael, right outside. Now, our sages say that there is a rebuke over here. Now, let's read for a second. There is no rebuke. It was 11 days mechorev derech har seirat kadesh ba'ena acharei akoto be'ever ha'Yarden, and he says Hashem told us what to do. Lo uchase. There's nothing over here. There's nothing talking about a rebuke. Our sages tell us that there is a rebuke, all in the first pasuk. So let's read the first pasuk. So these are the things that Moshe spoke to Am Yisrael across the Yarden. Bamidbar, in the desert. Ba'arava, in the Arava. Mol Suf, opposite Yam Suf. Ben Paran, between Paran, the desert of Paran. Uben Tofel, and between the desert of Tofel. Lavan, B'chatzerot, V'dizahar. So many names. Our sages say each and every one of those names is a different rebuke to Am Yisrael. Is a different teaching, is a different limud, musar to Am Yisrael. This is why I brought this book. B'ezrat Hashem, we're going to see how each and every word over here is a different rebuke from Moshe Rabbeinu to Am Yisrael. So let's start. The first one, he says, Ba'arava. What is the secret of Arava? What is Arava? Arava comes from the word Arev. Arev means guarantee. Guarantee. Stand by your word. Big lesson. The Gemara says, Hevei kavel v'kayam. Meaning, a person who respects, who has an avah is a sense of responsibility. A person who has responsibility is anav. Why is he anav? Because where does the responsibility come from? Whatever word I say, I guarantee that I'm gonna do. That's arava. I guarantee. I guarantee that I'm going to accept the word. I said I'm going to pay you. I guarantee that I'm going to pay you. If I don't respect you, if I'm not in anav, I don't have the humility, the humble. I'm not humble. Nothing I say is guaranteed. Nothing is guaranteed. Say the sages, our dear sages tell us, Hevei kavel v'kayam. Anything that you accept upon yourself, kayam. Make sure to do it. That's anava. That's anava. That's humility. That's arava. Arava means guarantee. Arava means to guarantee. The next one is mol suf. In front of suf. What is suf? Yam suf. What does that mean? Yam suf, that they were in front of Yam suf. So again, just to reiterate what we're doing, we learned in the beginning of Eliyahu Devarim, we're learning the Parasha of Eliyahu Devarim, Asher diber Moshe. These are the words. It's a new Parasha, it's a new book. And right at the beginning, we learned that Moshe is rebuking Am Yisrael. He's giving them a rebuke. What is a rebuke? Right before they're going into Eretz Yisrael, he's teaching them lessons, how to walk in the proper way. We're learning from this book a little bit. Noam Megadim was written by Rabbi Eliezer Halevi Horowitz. He's a big rabbi in Europe, and he writes fascinating words. Each one in the pasuk, in the first pasuk, we read that these are the words Moshe spoke to Am Yisrael. Our sages tell us a secret. Over here, each one of the following words is a different teaching. What are the words? Bamidbar, desert. Arava, Molsof, Paran, Tofel, Lavan, Chatzot, Izar. 8 things that are just mentioned. Each one of them carries a lesson. So right now that's what we're doing. We're learning the lessons. So the first one we learned was Arava. What is Arava? Arava means guarantee. Now there's one before that. I skipped that. Bamidbar. Midbar is a desert. There's a bunch of things we can learn from Bamidbar. What lessons can we learn from Midbar? One thing is that Midbar is empty. There's nothing to steal in a desert. In a jungle, there's fruit, there's a lot of material. In the desert, there's nothing. Empty. Our sages teach us that a person should have his house like a desert. No gezer. No stealing. No stealing. No stealing in the house. Your house is like midbar. Anything that is in your house is nothing, no stealing in that house. It's really fascinating to know that also the rabbis tell us in a similar concept that a person's house should be like a midbar, meaning that it should be a house of guests. Just like to the desert, it's open. Everyone can come in. I mean, you don't need to cut down trees and greenery. You go to the jungle, to the Amazon jungle, you need to bring a big machete. You need to cut down all the bamboo. Midbar, you just walk in. Huge, vast. And everyone treads on the midbar. Same thing. Your house should always be, everyone according to his level, however much you can. But, sometimes people need a place to stay. And there's some chats in Tarzana, a Jew needs a place to stay for the night. Anyone has a place for him to stay. Opening your house like this is called a midbar. I remember myself. I was one time traveling in the East Coast, and I went to Lakewood, New Jersey, and I have the tag on my name, Vegas Boy, because I'm from Vegas. I don't look like a Vegas boy, but that's my tag because my number is 702, and all my friends know me as the Vegas Boy. Yeah. I go to Lakewood. It's 8 p.m. and I have nowhere to stay. I have a car. I have nowhere to stay. I was thinking, okay, maybe I'll take a nearby hotel. Now, Lakewood, just to explain, Lakewood is basically Ir HaTorah, the city of Torah in America. I suggest everyone to one time just experience it, just to go and check it out. Ir HaTorah. So there's a lot of Jews, very friendly and good Jews, good people. And my friend said, Baruch Hashem, he went to the WhatsApp groups and he puts on, a boy from Vegas needs a place to stay for the night. Anyone has a place. Don't worry, no drugs involved. This is what he writes. And I was like, this is not going to work. No one's going to. After 1 minute, his phone rings. And what do we see? 3 people. I have a place for him. We chose the guy who's the closest, the first one and the closest. And literally, grand house, just invited me. Had so many guest rooms. He was like, stay wherever you want. Made sure to bring me everything. Make sure that there's breakfast at my door in the morning. Fascinating achnasat orchim. This is called achnasat orchim. This is called making your house a desert. People need to tread around and they're going from, even though I wasn't staying there. I just met him at night. He told me, listen, in the morning, 5 a.m., I have to go to my business. I'm going to Nets and I'm probably not going to see you. So enjoy. This is the code. If you ever walk out of this, you can also come and stay for lunch if you want. I told him I have to go. He says, it's okay. Nice to meet you. Chavod. One of the most fascinating things you've ever seen. This is true achnasat ochim. This is midbar. Another thing that it says is ba'arava. We said guaranteer, and what we taught from guaranteer is the attribute of humility. People who fulfill their words. If I accept on myself something and I fulfill it, that's a sign of my humility. Why? Because if I'm not, I don't have any, I'm not a humble person, I don't have humility, then I would tread on my words. I don't take my words true. It's not just, it does connect to emet. Someone who is anav is emet. He holds on to emet, to the attribute of truth. Because if I don't respect you, if I'm a baal gava and I think I can do whatever I want, why should I stand by my word? But when I realize that it involves someone else, that's a level of humility, that's arava. Moshe says to Am Yisrael, make sure to guarantee whatever you do, hevei, kabel, vekayem. Anything you accept on yourself, do. Make it happen. Mol suf. What is mol suf? So mol suf means against suf. It's referring to Yam Suf, Sea of Reeds. Now they're not against the Sea of Reeds. Moshe Rabbeinu is right now about to pass away. They're right over at the eastern bank of the Jordan River. They're not by the Yam Suf. Why are we mentioning Yam Suf over here? Yam Suf is all the way close to Egypt. Well, it has nothing to do with this. He says over here something funny. Not something fascinating. Gam keneged hapachot shebapchutim vesuf. This is trying to teach you about a Jew who is the less of the less, the Rasha of all the Rashaim that you can find. Rasha of all the Rashaim that he's Sof. Sof means an end. He's all the way in the last level, all the way down. This is a teaching actually of the Zohar. Back in Parashat Beshalach, when he's speaking about Yam Suf, the Zohar has a way of interpreting the words of the Torah that Yam Suf is referring to the lowest of the low. Is it okay if I can ask you just to lower the air conditioning? Sorry about that. Meaning, Moshe Rabbeinu was saying all of this even to the lowest of the low. What does that mean, to the lowest of the low? A lot of us, unfortunately, we think that when we see a Jew that is not a good person, I mean, you know that he cheats in business, you know that he did some bad stuff, you know that he's involved in bad things, or he's just not a nice person. We all think that, let him go. Just let him go. You know, as they say in Hebrew, kiven she'utra retzua utra. Meaning, once the belt is off, it's off. Meaning, that's it. There's nothing to do over here. That person. Moshe Rabbeinu is saying all of this, mol sof. Even in front of the sof. Even to the lowest of the low. The lowest of the low has to have much respect to a person who is above him. And every single one of us, the person above us, we have to have respect. Makes sense. But in the same time, we also have to respect those below us in the way that we shouldn't think that they're out. That that's it. Because they're so bad, they're out. No. Even those who are low, even those who are super low, we have an obligation to go ahead and teach them in whatever way possible. Now, back in the day, it used to be small docha v'yamin mekarev. Left pushes around, but yamin brings close. So meaning, you have to have a tactic of being harsh on a person, and at the same time showing them love. Today, the halacha is, and all the rabbis say, only yamin mekarev. No more being harsh. Only yamin mekarev. Only the right should bring close. And because we started talking about this, I'm just going to go a little bit off tangent. I want to show you a fascinating Gemara, and this has to do with the Geulah, the Galut, what we're about to go into right now with Tisha B'Av next week. There's a famous Gemara, a famous Talmud. It says like this: Amar Rav Yehuda, Amar Rabbi Shmuel bar Nachmani, Amar Rabbi Yonatan. says Rav Shmuel in the name of Rabbi Yonatan. Mai dechtiv, what does it mean when it says in the pasuk? And this is said in Mishlei, the words of Shlomo HaMelech. Ne'emanim pitzei ohev ve'ne'etarot neshikot soneh. Ne'emanim means trustworthy are the wounds that I get from one who loves me. But hateful are the kisses that I get from someone who hates me. These are the words, the wise words of Shlomo HaMelech. Says Rab Shmuel Bar Yehuda Bar Nachmani, what is Shlomo HaMelech referring to exactly? Now it could be referring to in general. If we have someone who loves us, what happens? Many times when we love someone, we hurt them. We hurt them. Now, we don't mean to, but we love them so much. We want them, when we see them going in a certain way that is not good, by mistake, we go ahead and we say things that we shouldn't say, but in the same time, we're doing it for their own good, but it comes out that we hurt them. Says Shlomo HaMelech, I rather those wounds that I get from someone who loves me than the kisses I get from someone who hates me. Very interesting to say that Shlomo HaMelech got married when he was 12, became king. And he got married to the daughter of Pharaoh. He had her go do conversion, and he married her. Now, of course, the sages of the time were against what Shlomo HaMelech did. Now get this. They were against what Shlomo's starting to become a king. Already he does something wrong. Already he starts with the left foot. Instead of marrying a Jewish woman, he goes ahead and he marries, at 12 years old, the daughter of Pharaoh. And he makes an alliance with Egypt. Smart move, but it wasn't a righteous move. It says that when Shlomo HaMelech married the daughter of Pharaoh, Malach Gabriel came, stuck a stick in the ground, and created a whole continent called Rome. Now again, these are words of Chazal that are heavy. It's not literal. I mean, that's not how Italy was made, by someone sticking an angel coming and sticking. But the point was, that was when Rome, that was the creation of Rome. That for some reason, Shlomo HaMelech marrying the daughter of Pharaoh created in the events, it created Roman Empire and what the Roman Empire did to us. So it wasn't a good thing what he did. I mean, it says that the moment they got married, the night of their wedding, Shlomo had a big band playing in his wedding. She said, no, I want the band from my house, from Egypt. I want the Egyptian music. So he brought all the Egyptian music. Now the thing is, all the songs they played was to their gods. Avodah Zarah. I mean, it's so interesting how it foreshadows the death of Shlomo HaMelech. The beginning of his life foreshadows the end of his life. Because in the end of this life, it also says that he married more women and all of them went after Avodah Zarah. And it says that they led King Solomon to do Avodah Zarah with them. Did King Solomon actually do Avodah Zarah? No. Just say no. Whoever says Shlomo HaMelech did a sin is wrong. What does that mean then, that he did Avodah Zarah with them? Because he did not rebuke them. Someone who doesn't rebuke his friend for something wrong that he's doing and doesn't tell him, stop, this is not right, I don't agree with what you're doing, it's as if you're doing it. You're an accomplice. Shlomo HaMelech let all the women build in the end of his life. He wasn't on top of making sure that all the women are following in Hashem's way. They keep true to their conversion. He had them all converted. Again, not with the sage's permission. They didn't accept this. They didn't like what he did. And they went, and each one of those women, they went and they did Avodah Zarah. And because he didn't rebuke them for that and wasn't on top of it, it's considered as if he did. How important it is to be, but you have to also take this with a measurement, because in the same time, there's a famous Tana, I forgot the name of the Tana, but someone who lived in the Second Temple, big rabbi from the Mishnah, from the time of the Mishnah, who said, I would be surprised if someone in our generation can actually give a rebuke, knows how to rebuke someone. Today, a lot of people, They don't rebuke l'shem shamayim. They rebuke because they feel good. It makes them feel better. I'm better than you. That's why I'm putting you down. Unfortunately, we're not in the level really to rebuke properly. Even though it's a mitzvah and to Torah, the rebuke, it's really, you need to think twice before how you rebuke and how you say it. But the point is, that's what Shlomo HaMelech did. Such a foreshadow. Shlomo HaMelech, the night, he partied in his wedding. And the next morning, he didn't wake up for Shacharit on time. His mom, Batsheva, this is a tradition that we have. His mom, Batsheva, came and she slapped him in the face. She said, how can you not wake up? How can you do this? He's 12. She says, how can you do this? Says Shlomo HaMelech, Ne'emanim pitz'ei ohev. Ne'emanim pitz'ei ohev. The trustworthy are the wounds that I got from my mom who loved me than the kisses that I got from the daughter of Paro. Ne'tarot neshikot soneh. What is this referring to? Which event is it referring to? Says the Gemara, Tova klala shekilel Achia Shilonit Israel. The curse that Achia Shiloni, Achia from Shiloh, cursed Am Israel is better than the bracha that Bilam gave Am Israel. The blessing that Bilam gave Am Israel is worse than the curse that Achia gave Am Israel. Who is Achia? Achia was a big prophet in the time of the kings. And if you want to know how big he was the master of Eliyahu Navi. Yeah, he is Achia Shiloni. I know people say they have the revelations of Eliyahu Navi. You know, the Ari, there's big rabbis who throughout the generation, they had a revelation of Eliyahu Navi. Some merited Achia Shiloni, who was the master. That's like next level. Some say that they learned from Achia Shiloni. In their sleep, whatever it was, they learned from Achia Shiloni. He's not even discussed, like he's so like low-key in the Navi. Sounds like an angel that just came and left the world. That was Achia Shiloni. He cursed Am Yisrael. What was the curse that he cursed Am Yisrael? Achia Shiloni kilelan bekaneh. Achia cursed Am Yisrael with a reed. Amar lehem leYisrael, he said to Am Yisrael, Vehika Hashem et Yisrael ka'asher yenud hakaneh. Hashem should smite, should hit Am Yisrael like a reed moves around in the water. Like this. He should slap Am Yisrael like that. Says the Gemara, Ma kaneh zeh, just like this reed, omed b'makom mayim, it stands where? Where do reeds grow? In water. V'giz'o machlif, even if you cut it down, regrows. V'shorashav merubin, and under, if you dig under, you see that the roots are a lot. The reed has a lot of roots. V'afilu kol haruchot sheba'olam, even if all the winds of the world, ba'ot v'novshvot po, they come and they blow, en mazizot oto mimekomo. They cannot uproot the reed. Ela holech uba imahem. It just goes with the winds. Damemu haruchot, once the winds stop, amad hakaneh bimkomo, the reed stands tall as it was before. Aval Bil'am harasha, Bilam birchan be'erez, he gave them a blessing like a cedar tree. Shene'emar ka'arazim, just like cedars. Ma erez ze eino omed b'mkom mayim, a cedar does not stand in a place of water. Ve'en gizo machlif, and if you cut down the cedar, it doesn't regrow. Ve'en shorasham merubim, and the roots are not a lot. There is strong roots, but they're not a lot of roots. Ve'afilu kol haruchot sheba'olam ashot b'mizor mekomo, even if there's a lot of winds in the world, they don't move it from its place. Kivan shenashva bo ruach terumit, but once the southern, notice the word, the southern drum come and it blows, it uproots the cedar and it turns it on its face. The Lord, and not just that, the reed merited that we use it as a writing pen. We write with the kulmus, with the reed. With the reed, we use the reed to write a Sefer Torah, the books of Nevi'im, of the prophets, and Ketuvim. This is what Shlomo HaMelech means It's better the curses, the Achia Shiloni cursed us as a reed, than the bracha that Bilam gave us as a cedar. Now there's a beautiful message over here. I don't know if you guys catched on to it. How many winds are in the world? 4. Northern, southern, eastern, western. Notice these words. Let me show you a whole way of learning what the rabbis are saying, the secret over here. Let's learn it again. This reed stands in a place of what? Mayim, water. Water, place of life. Water is life. Water grows things. Water helps sustain. Water is Torah. He blessed them to be like a reed, always b'makom Torah. Always the Am Yisrael should be wherever they are, in water, always with the confines of the Torah. Wherever they go, Europe, Iran, Morocco, they always have Mayim, the Torah, the source of life of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, no matter where. V'giz'o machlif. Even if you cut down the fathers, the sons are still gonna keep on going. Giz'o machlif, the root, even if you cut it, it's gonna grow back, regrow. The shorashav merubin, and the roots are a lot. They're a lot. They're strong together. You remember, there's a story of a dad who asked his sons before he passed away. He asked them, "What do you guys want?" Now, he was a wealthy person, and he had 10 sons, and each one said what he wants from the estate. He says, this. He said, "Okay. Before I'm gonna do this, I want to do an experiment with you guys." What do you want? He says, "I want everyone to bring a stick." Each one got a stick. He says, "Break it." Everyone, you heard the sound, tick, 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 all 10. He says, "Now I want everyone to give the sticks to me. Find a new stick and give all the sticks to me." Like, well, what's he doing? They gave him all the sticks, 10 sticks. And he says, "Try and break this." Each one of them tried, they couldn't break it. He says, "No matter what I'm going to give you, it doesn't matter. What the biggest thing I can give you is to teach you that if you guys stand together as brothers, nothing's going to destroy you. If you guys are all going to be each one with himself, with his own estate and his family, and none have to do anything with this, you're breakable, just like this, like a stick." Shorashav merubin. The roots are strong and together. Even if all the 4 winds of the world, what are the 4 winds of the world? Tzafon, north, Babylon. What else? East. Who comes from the east? Paras Umadai. Iran, Persia. Who comes from the west? Yavan. Galut Yavan, Greece. Who is Darum? Roman Empire, Rome. Now, why is Rome called Rome? Do you know why Rome is called Rome? I told you this for Chanukah. Darum, the reason why we call south, the reason why we call south is because the sun rises from the east and sets in the west. But the sun doesn't go like that in the middle. It goes like that towards the south and comes down. So it goes from the east and then it makes like a circle like this to the south and it comes back to, it doesn't go like that, straight. It doesn't rise in the east and just goes straight into the south. It has a rising in the east that goes around towards the southern hemisphere and then sets in the west. Now, when is it the highest, the sun? When it's all the way in the southern hemisphere in the midday. That's why we call it Da in Aramaic. Da, this, Rom, the highest point. The south. That's when the sun hits the highest point in the day. That's where it's highest. Apparently, Italy and Rome is the same thing. The Roman, they called Rome because Rome, in the Western Hemisphere, where Europe is, Italy was the highest place, according to them, where the sun hit. That was like towards Italy, that was the place where the sun was hitting, the highest place. And it makes sense because I think it's something that has to do with I was reading about it. I think we discussed it on Hanukkah, but something that has to do that Rome was in Italy is in a very mountainous area. It was on mountains and everything, so that's why the sun was always like in the highest point by Rome. That was I think something that we discussed before. But that's Darom. Rome is Darom. So even when the fourth wind comes, it doesn't get it. Bil'am said, and he blessed them, that you should be like a cedar tree. Says the Gemara, all the three winds come, they can't do anything. Once the southern wind comes, the Roman Empire, the galut that we're still in, there's 4 galuyot. The galut, once it comes, it would uproot you upon your face. You're done. The nation is done. He blessed us, but the blessing came with a curse. That's the lesson over here that we learned. Now, it's really interesting. Erez, the gematria of Erez, the numerical value, is actually 208. 208 is the same gematria as Pinchas. It's the same gematria as Yitzchak. Yitzchak, Pinchas, Erez is all the numerical value of 208. Remember this. Now, what's the special thing about all of them? Yitzchak and Pinchas, we know that they were din, they were judgment. There was a certain level of judgment. Why do we say Pinchas is Eliyahu, Eliyahu is Pinchas? The reason why is because they both shared the same attribute of din. There's 2 ways to control, there's 2 types of tzaddikim. There's a tzaddik of midat adin and tzaddik of midat rachamim. Tzaddik that is judgment, comes from the side of judgment, and the tzaddik that comes from the side of mercy. Tzaddik that comes from the side of judgment is like Bet Shammai. There were 2 halachic authorities, Hillel and Shammai. Shammai, always strict in halakha. You find a rabbi sometimes who whenever he learns halakha, don't do it. Always don't. He's mostly strict because he comes from midat adin, Shammai. A rabbi who's more lenient, again, not that he doesn't care about the Torah, but the point is that he's able to come out to a conclusion in halakha more lenient. That's from the side of Rachamim, Hillel. It was called Hillel. Same thing. Everyone asked the question, why did Yoshua become the leader of the Jewish people after Moshe? If anything, Pinchas should have been the leader after Moshe. Pinchas was the one, when everyone was so he displayed leadership. He went ahead and in the time of, what more of a leader can you expect? Someone that in the time when the nation is so stressed out and everything just a gajumbo, he just takes control, takes command and does it. Why don't we make him a leader, Pinchas? Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu knows that we need a leader. Eliyahu Navi can never be a leader of the nation of Israel. He's not going to be Mashiach. Because he's Midat Adin. Eliyahu Navi in his time, when he saw that Am Yisrael were not doing Brit Milah, he stood up and he said, no more rain. For 3 years there was a doubt because of Eliyahu Navi. He said, no more rain to Israel. And they suffered. Am Yisrael suffered. You have to be Eliyahu Navi to do this. Eliyahu Navi had something called Kanai. He was a zealot to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Now it's a good midah. We're not saying that it's a bad midah. But it's not a midah that is a characteristic of a Jewish leader. If Moshe was a Kanai, Am Yisrael would have been destroyed in seconds. In seconds, Am Yisrael would have been destroyed. If he came from the side of judgment, you know something interesting. Everyone says Nadav and Avihu, the sons of Aaron, that they passed away. They didn't do this, they didn't do that. The Gemara tells us something fascinating. They used to walk behind Moshe and Aaron, and they used to always say, whisper, when are those 2 old fellas going to pass away and we're going to be the leaders? They were actually up to success. Nadav was supposed to be like Moshe, Avihu was supposed to be like Aaron, and they're supposed to be the next leader. And they said, when are they going to die? Come on, khalas. We want to become the leaders. You guys are already old. What does that mean? Tzaddikim like that talk like that? Nadav and Avihu, okay, were midat hadin. Moshe and Aaron were midat rachamim. They had rachamim. Whenever the nation did something bad, the first thing they did was shalom. They had mercy. Have mercy on this nation. Forgive this nation. Nadav and Avihu said, no, whoever did sin, you go to Gehenom. Gehenom, Gehenom, Gehenom. Were they right? Yeah, meaning in a way they were right. That's according to their level. Those are not leaders of Am Yisrael. And because of that, that's one explanation. Of course, there has to be other things to just, HaKadosh Baruch Hu can just get rid of them like that. He won't just get, but that was one reason why HaKadosh Baruch Hu this. And how did they die? How did they die? They didn't die with a bodily, they weren't dead with a body or anything. Fire went up their nostrils and burnt their neshama alive. Took their neshama. With fire. Fire is their characteristic. It's fire that they wanted. Midat hadin. That's why Pinchas can never be the leader of Am Yisrael. And he never became the leader of Am Yisrael. It was Yoshua bin Nun. Yoshua bin Nun. I mean, Nun, what is Nun? Nun, in Aramaic, is fish in the water. Not fire. He's water. He's chill. He's calm. As v'chalila to say this about Yoshua. I mean, he was a big tzaddik. But that's a leader. Someone who is able to carry it and not always be judgmental of the people he sees in, even if it's true. Because then you will never have a nation. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, when he created the world, he created it first with Elohim. Bereshit bara, Elohim. Elohim is the name of din, of judgment. Later on, we see that it says, Beyom baro Hashem Elokim. What happened? He saw that the world would not stand with midat hadin. He took rachamim and threw it down to the earth. The world needs to be a combination of rachamim and din. That was Yoshua bin Nun. Pinchas was only din. Eliyahu was only din. Whether you want to think that Pinchas was really Eliyahu, or the point was that Pinchas had the spirit of Eliyahu, that's what it means. It means the same thing. They were both in that same category of people who had din, midat hadin, who cannot really be leaders over the nation, but are big tzaddikim. Their midah is emet to the fullest. That's erez. That's the secret of